Dissenting shareholder votes typically don't make majority support, and that's because they're typically cast by arm's-length shareholders like institutional investors or individual shareholders who, unlike large family owners, for example, do not have direct access to the board of a company. So shareholder dissent hardly ever reaches majority levels. An important question is, what value is it to corporate governance? An even more important question is, what does shareholder dissent really say to managers? We analyzed more than 12,000 voting results from more than 700 European firms, and we found that voting dissent is not just explained by the proposal at stake, but also by governance features of the firms they own, such as executive compensation, for example. And this told us that shareholders are not just voting on the proposals at stake, but also to express their resentment with how the firm is governed. Interestingly, we found that what shareholders express by dissenting votes differs per country and the corporate governance system and dominant corporate governance ideology in that country. In liberal market economies, like the United Kingdom and Ireland, for example, corporate governance is first and foremost about shareholder value maximization. And if shareholders dissent with proposals in these countries, it's typically about corporate governance practices that would compromise or jeopardize shareholder value maximization. So for shareholders of firms in the United Kingdom, for example, paying executives a lot of money is typically not an issue. But stakeholder directors on the board is an issue for them because they think that stakeholder directors are disloyal to shareholder interests. In coordinated market economies like Germany and Austria, for example, corporate governance is not just about shareholder value maximization. It's much more about the team of stakeholders that together cooperate in the firm. And the voting patterns in these firms also reflect this so-called team production ideology. We found that shareholders in these countries typically care less about whether or not board members are sufficiently loyal to shareholder interest. But we also found that they're very concerned about high level of executive pay, which presumably make managers too sensitive to shareholder interest at the expense of other stakeholders. Overall, our study shows that shareholder voting is very much like political voting on referenda, where people do not just vote on the issue at stake, but also to express their resentment with the government. And in politics, such a negative voting outcome typically serves as a canary in the mine for the government that their support is waning. In firms, shareholder votes against proposals may express similar concerns, and it's really important for managers to take these concerns seriously and to find out what these concerns are really about.